Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Gonna do a little video introducing myself and kind of what I'm about and what I want to do with YouTube. First off, my name's Spencer. Uh, grew up, well, born Canadian, grew up in North Carolina, now live in Pennsylvania. Uh, love Volkswagens. That's my whole MO with cars. As you can see, I have my 88 Jetta behind me, my 81 Rabbit pickup truck over there. I'll get more into those in a second. A little bit about my background in cars. Got into Volkswagens when I got old enough to have a license. I really didn't care about cars before that, but being able to drive got me into kind of the Fast and Furious look. I grew up watching those. Just thought all that stuff was cool. So my mom bought a '09 Volkswagen Jetta wagon turbo diesel, new from the dealership. I would have been 13 at the time, and I just thought that car was the coolest thing in the world. And actually, it's sitting out front. I don't know if we'll get that far. It's kind of getting dark here, so I don't know if I'll be able to walk around and you guys actually see it, but we're going to try and make it out there. That way you guys can see the whole fleet. So yeah, came up to Pennsylvania to go to college. Went to school for mechanical engineering, so I love to fabricate my own parts and machine my own parts. So let's do the quick walk around of everything in here and everything out front of the garage, and I'll walk you through kind of what the goals are with each car. So we'll start with the 88 Jetta because it's the biggest project for right now. And I'll kind of walk you guys around the garage here in a bit too, but kind of dim. So this is my engine bay for the 88 Jetta. It is a 8-valve single overhead cam motor. It really does not make any power whatsoever. It's 105 horsepower from the factory, so it barely gets out of its own way, but it makes more power than that. So yeah, big project right now. I'm redoing the cooling system to nix the heater core, so that'll be bypassed. And then it's going to have a swirl pot that's going to sit right about here. Eventually my plans are to do an aluminum radiator and like 2 slim fans instead of this one massive fan that really isn't cutting it anymore. In 1988 things were a lot different. Not really going to do any power adder to the motor. I have a 1.8T out of a Mark IV on a shelf. I'll show you guys that here in a second. That I'll probably swap in here whenever that motor dies, but if you guys know anything about 8 valves, they're pretty much bulletproof. But if this motor ever dies, I'm going to turn it into a table and then swap it. But anyways, this car, factory AC, you can see the lines running through there. Actually factory power windows too, but I'm kind of gonna get rid of some of that stuff. I don't use the AC, and obviously I just said that I'm bypassing the heater core, so I'm not gonna keep it. I'll probably keep the parts on a shelf just because I know I'll never find them again, and on the off chance that I want to turn this car back to factory original, I'll have all the stuff. But yeah, so right now I'm rebuilding the transmission. That is just the case. There is no guts in there. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. No, definitely not. But there is nothing in there whatsoever. It's just an empty shell. So that was powder coated by a friend of mine, if you're in the Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland area, hit him up for powder coating. Red Lion Coatings. He's in Bear, Delaware, I think is what the actual town is. Does great work. He also did my RMs that are on this. So these are two-piece. I don't know. I'm a bit of a BBS whore, so these are essentially two-piece versions of RSs, which are three-piece. So RMs, the face and the barrel is one unit, and then the lip is separate. So you can change widths on these wheels really easily, but offsets, you're kind of screwed. It's not like an RS where you can make effectively any custom combination that you want. And here's the interior of this. So nothing really special going on in here. Quick release. There's the power windows that I pointed out. I do have OMP racing seats. The seats for this are sitting over in the corner, and they pretty well suck. They don't hold you in at all. I kept them just because, again, factory. So like, there is no bolsters on these things. So, and they only came with 2-point seat belts. So it was literally from my waist up to my shoulder. So if I get in a car accident, it's probably taking my head off. So felt safer with this. I still need to put a cage in it. The harnesses are just bolted to the floor, which I know super unsafe still, because I'm going to shatter my collarbones if I do get into a wreck, but it's what I could do in a pinch and drive the car. I bought it like 5 years ago now for effectively dirt cheap, because that's when Mark IIs were at like the bottom of their value curve, basically. So yeah, it's just been a fun project car. This is like the first project car that I bought. And then there's the 1.8 that's in a box. So bare block. That's the head that I've never stripped. I'm pretty sure that box here has all of the pistons in it. And then there's more in this, but I don't remember what is in there. I had that parts car 7 years ago now, and I have a 1.8 T Mark IV out front that we're going to get to. So I kept it because of that, and also then when I bought this, it became a good swap option. So pretty much the transmission, and then the coolant swirl pot, which I can show you guys some of that right now. Don't mind the exhaust manifold or the mess. So this is most of the pieces. I still gotta cut a bottom piece, which will effectively be this without the giant hole in the center. And then I'm gonna use 1-inch aluminum tubing to create all the lines. So from this is off the side of the head. This was water jet cut and then CNC machine for the O-ring, and I transitioned from the head outlet size down to 1 inch to fit the piping better, so I had a better chance of getting a good weld on this. But I'll use this, side of the head. Need a 90 to get into there, and then more piping off of this side to go down to the water pump, essentially. But yeah, that's that project. And then gonna remote mount the oil pressure sensors. So trying to keep the factory one. So like you can see, this is, I've labeled them so I don't mix this up. M10x1 for the factory one, and then I'm going to put a auto meter gauge in, so 1/8 inch MPT, and then I'm running a 4-4 AN line to this side, so it's a 1/8 NPT to -4 adapter that's going to go in this side. And then I'll probably mount that somewhere on the firewall and go from there. So that's the most of this car. Moving on to next project car, which is absolutely very, very low priority right now, is my Mark 1 Rabbit pickup truck. So this is a 1981, so the beginning of what everyone calls the late style. It's got, let's see, this side's locked. It's got a 1.6 turbo diesel. It's been swapped. Volkswagen nerds will know that turbo diesels didn't get sold in Mark 1s in the US. They got sold in Mark 2s in the US, and they also came in Mark 1s in Europe. So this particular turbo diesel is out of a Mark 2 Jetta. So it doesn't make hardly any power. I think those motors made 65 horsepower, even though they were turboed. So it's even slower than that Mark II, but this is way more fun to drive and turns way more heads driving down the highway. So interior, I do still have the peanut butter door cards for this, but they were so curled that I didn't feel like dealing with them. So Forever Panels, I think, made those. And then you can see I made a gauge panel. And then I used to have a cabriolet center console here, but it wasn't bolted down, so as I shift it, it moved. But that's what it originally held those gauges. And so I got the correct like floor console for the shifter, or shifter surround, whatever you want to call it. And then water jet that, and just bent it in a press brake real quick. But yeah, there's the only thing that I'm missing in this entire interior is that ashtray. So if you have one of those, please let me know. But otherwise, it's pretty factory. It's been repainted. Here you can see the lovely sunburn that it's got. This is the most recent car that I bought. So I bought it probably 2 years ago now. A friend of mine in North Carolina, because that's where I grew up, found this in a barn in Virginia, and the last insurance card that I found in the glove box was from 2011. So it sat for at least 10 years, most likely. They pulled it out of the barn, they got it running, and then realized that they had more projects than what they wanted to take on, and wanted to cut this loose, because they already had a Mark 1 pickup truck anyway, so they didn't feel like they needed two. So I bought it, and then I drove it 6.5 hours back up here, where it almost made it all the way until the alternator seized about a half hour from my house. So it got trailered for the last half hour of that drive. But the cap is the coolest thing on this, probably. It's what I like the most. I've had coworkers call this the happy hearse, just because of the shape, but it needs to be resealed because it leaks like a sieve. But yeah, that's pretty much everything on this car. Long-term goals: lower it, put an exhaust on it, because it's still got the factory exhaust that's like this big around, and then just drive the piss out of it, really. I would love to bag it, but I've never bagged a car before. And this has got some funky things. I'd also like to put 4-wheel disc brakes on it, which parking brake cables get to be an issue when you try to do that. Only other thing cool about this car is Zender, I believe these are Sport 2 wheels, is what they're called. Pretty hard to find. I bought them in Georgia and then drove them all the way back up here. But they don't have a ton of information on them. They are still stamped on the back saying that they were made in West Germany, and I think the year or date code in them is 88, I think. So they're really old. They need to be refinished. I want to try to split them because when I rebuilt these, I still have the factory lips. And from my quick comparison, the 30-bolt BBS lips line up to the 30-bolt Zender lips. So it would be awesome if I could do that. But I don't know how that's going to work out. So last car, and I'll try and make it out front, but I doubt it. Ooh, sidebar. That's my Triumph Daytona 675 street bike. It is my daily driver for the summer. I am not one of those people that rides their bike every day. I'm a fair weather rider. So if it's above 50 degrees, I'll ride that. I really don't do anything to it. It is completely stock. I haven't even put an exhaust on it, even though I think about doing it every year, and then I spend money on car parts. So yeah, it's getting dark out here. We'll try and get through this quick. My Mark IV. So this is my high school car. I've had it for probably between 8 and 10 years now. It is lowered on BC Racing coilovers. It is a 1.8T. This is a 2003 model year. Unfortunately, it is an automatic, if you can even see that, because in high school, I did not know how to drive stick. Actually, I learned how to drive stick in that. Very rough. Very rough. Between that and a friend of mine's E36 M3, that's what I learned to drive stick shift in. But anyways, lowered. It had a 42 Draft Designs exhaust on it until PA Winters took that away from me. So that's another project on the list, is making a new exhaust for this. And then the only other fun thing about this is Mark IV R32 brakes, powder coated RCs. Fun fact, my favorite color was orange, and then I decided to go purple, and then purple became my favorite color. So if you haven't noticed between the two cars, I pick accent color with everything, and then everything becomes that color. So teal for the Mark II, purple for the Mark IV. The battery on this is dead, so, and I don't have the keys, so I can't open it. But it's got a purple valve cover too, but it's no power adder beyond, factory, because a tune would not hold in this transmission. I have a manual swap in that garage, but this car pretty much always runs, so I don't take it apart until this automatic transmission dies. I refuse to do the swap, because I'm gonna kill it. And there's the fronts. As you can tell by the rusty rotors, this is sat outside all winter. But yeah, we'll do this quick. Hopefully no one's out here, because my neighbors will probably think this is really awkward. Fiance's Q5 TDI, so it's a 3-liter V6 turbo diesel. This is the red wagon that my mom bought brand new, so it's got 225,000 miles on it now. 17-inch BBS RCs, and then that's my tow pig of a 06 F350. So yeah, that was a COVID purchase. Nothing real special about either of those. That F350 is a Power Stroke, but it's not studded or bulletproofed or whatever everybody wants to call, any type of modification to those things. It's leveled and has a 5-inch straight pipe exhaust, or actually a 4-inch with a 5-inch tip. So yeah, nothing that special. One day I will delete it and sorry, it's cold in PA. Well, the wind is cold in PA, so I keep the door shut. But yeah, I would love to tune that truck, but 1, that's expensive. 2, I can't even get that truck in my garage because it's too tall. And 3, this thing steals all my money. Yeah. So I hope that I'm able to keep up with this and bring you guys along while I fabricate parts and do all this fun stuff. The quick shop tour, I don't have a ton. Grandfather's drill press, which is holding my B killer. Grandfather's belt sander. Bench grinder. Chop saw, but that's only woodworking anyways. TIG welder. My vices, which this isn't mounted, I just bought this. And then my press. I have access to a machine shop. It's my second job. So I'll give a quick tour there whenever I take you guys with me there. But yeah, the only other fun thing is if you haven't figured this out, I am a parts hoarder. So transmission parts, engine heads, dumb stuff, center caps, more transmission parts, intake manifold, random fasteners, WaveTrack LSD for the black car, more takeoff parts from the parts car that I had forever ago that I just refused to throw away. This is the catch-all shelf. And then I have like roof racks for every freaking car that I own, but I never put them on, so they stay on top of that shelf. And then this is the trans out of the parts car to swap that Mark IV. The original rear beam off of that car that I'm going to try and refresh. And then like Mark I parts, Mark I and Mark II parts, more Mark II parts, stuff that I can keep in boxes. And then this is all Mark I and Mark II takeoff stuff. So yeah, this took way longer than I expected it to. So I'm going to cut it off here. Hope to see you guys next time. And thanks for watching if you made it this far. And I'll keep on filming. See you.